Hi, my name is Henry Nguyen, and today my presentation will be on prions. So, what is a prion? A prion is simply an infectious agent composed entirely of protein material. Even though proteins are extremely important for the function of humans in day-to-day life, in extremely rare cases, a normal PRP protein can become misfolded, which creates a mutant prion that's capable of causing disease. Prions are responsible for the TSEs, or the transmissible spongiform encephalopathies, which include mad cow disease, scabies in sheep, and in humans, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease and Kuru. Since prions are composed entirely of protein, they contain no genetic material or DNA or RNA. So how do prions work? So basically, prions work by acting as a template to misfold normally folded proteins. This causes a huge chain reaction because those misfolded proteins can now cause other proteins to misfold as well. So this causes amyloid strands to form within the brain, and those amyloid strands then form plaques which then accumulate. These plaques are neurotoxic and they are able to degenerate nervous tissue. This is what causes the characteristic spongy texture in the brains that are affected by TSEs. So eventually the brain wastes away and death occurs. Prions also differ from other pathogens such as bacteria and viruses in that they are extremely hard to destroy. For instance, prions are immune to the effects of proteases, autoclaving, which is basically subjecting a substance to extremely high temperatures and pressures. They're also immune to radiation, high heat, boiling, and cooking. Also, a preserved infected brain was still able to transmit spongiform disease after 30 years. So, how are prions transmitted? An individual can acquire prions with three methods of transmission. Acquired, which means it was acquired through eating contaminated meat or from the environment. Genetic, where individuals that are predispositioned to having TSEs get it because of their genetics. And sporadic, which appears almost spontaneously. However, the most common method of acquiring prions includes eating infected animals. Also, prions are able to spread through manure, which can contaminate human drinking resources, which can cause a huge epidemic if people are not careful. Hi, my name is Henry Nguyen, and today my presentation will be on prions. In sheep, it's known as scabies. In deer and moose, it's known as chronic wasting disease. And in humans, it can either take the form of CJD or Kuru disease. So, what are the impacts that prions can have on humans? Well, in the 1990s in Great Britain, there was a BSE epidemic, or a mad cow disease epidemic, that was most likely caused from feeding infected cow brain and spinal tissue to cows. This caused the European Union to ban all British beef exports, which subsequently caused a collapse in the British beef industry. Many farming families were affected. Another example it was in 2003, where the Canadian Food Agency discovered a cow with BSE in Alberta. This initial scare led to the USA and Mexico to ban all Canadian beef. So the result of that was that Canadian cattle farmers had their incomes plummet to their lowest level in 3 years. Another scary fact involving prions is that they are able to lay dormant inside their host for up to 50 years. Simply put, the potential size of a TSE epidemic may be understated. So, what are some ways to stop the transmission of prions? For starters, banning the use of infected brain and spinal tissue in cattle feed saw dramatically decreased levels of mad cow disease in affected countries. Furthermore, professional healthcare practitioners who have recently come into contact with individuals that have TSEs should properly sterilize and clean out their medical equipment. Also, individuals with suspected cases of familial CJD should not donate corneal tissue or eye tissue or any organs. Also, epidemiological surveillance of cattle populations in countries with suspected cases of mad cow disease should also be conducted regularly. So, some concluding thoughts. All TSEs are ultimately fatal in that they have a 100% mortality rate. Luckily, TSEs are extremely rare and occur at around a rate of 1 per 1 million people per year. However, further research should be conducted into ways to treat victims that have TSEs and prion transmission so that further outbreaks can be controlled.